This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build a professional website, strengthen your brand, and grow your business online. We all know how scandals and wild behavior can wreck an actor's career. But Shia LaBeouf's case is something completely special. Watching him is like watching someone set themselves on fire and still get invited back to the party. Once called the new Tom Hanks, and now known as a certified Hollywood lunatic. Who helped Shia blow up so fast? Why was he quietly erased from Transformers 4? How did he land a role by bombarding the director with his dick pics? What weird superpower does this guy actually have? And why did Brad Pitt, Tom Hardy, and Alec Baldwin almost beat the living hell out of him? This is Hollywood lore. Let's go. Given how fast LaBeouf's career took off, you might think he's one of those talented nephews who got a boost from a famous Hollywood uncle. But that's not the case. Acting was his way of dealing with his family's financial problems, and he never pretended this profession was chosen for anything other than money. Well, at first, at least. In that sense, Shia is more like Tobey Maguire, who only signed up for acting classes because of money. LaBeouf started his career as a background furniture in different TV shows, including The X-Files. After a while, the actor began showing up in bigger parts. The project most often singled out is Even Stevens, a show that was hugely popular on Disney Channel. That one got Shia an Emmy, and almost immediately Hollywood started throwing offers at him. One of LaBeouf's first films was the second, Charlie's Angels. There, he ran around Bernie Mac, who stepped in after Bill Murray refused to come back for the sequel. Without Murray, the movie didn't do great at the box office and got buried under a pile of Razzies. But LaBeouf wasn't the one in the spotlight, which meant everyone else got blamed for this disaster, especially director McGee, who didn't get such a fat budget for the next 6 years. On top of that, a few more movies with him hit theaters in 2003. And yeah, nobody expected that Dumb and Dumberer prequel would be able to boost anyone's career. Shia probably also had zero illusions here, but happily agreed to participate because he's a huge fan of the original. The other movie of the same year, Holes, was way more successful, making $70 million on a budget of $20, and people actually noticed LaBeouf in it. MTV even gave him a Breakthrough Performance nomination. That was a great boost for his career. Almost immediately, the actor appeared in iRobot, where he was noticed by the scriptwriter Akiva Goldsman. A year later, Akiva was producing Constantine. When they started talking about some kid who'd be running around Keanu Reeves, Goldsman suddenly remembered LaBeouf and suggested they take a look at such a nice fellow. Yet Shia later said his true trial by fire wasn't the bigger and more successful Constantine, but the flop sitting right next to it. The greatest game ever played. Still, by that point, all those wins and losses didn't matter much anymore. Steven Spielberg had noticed LaBeouf and said he saw a new Tom Hanks in him. Since the old Hanks had become a bit too big, they needed someone fresher to fill the smaller slot. Only a certified lunatic would have said no to an offer like that, and Shia hadn't reached this stage just yet. The actor agreed to be the new Tom Hanks and signed a multi-film deal with Spielberg's studio. And that's the trap. Once Hollywood stamps you the next Tom Hanks, nothing good's gonna happen. You can't really say LaBeouf's famous vibes were already manifesting. Some suspicious signs were there, but both the actor and everyone around blamed it on hard childhood and his screwed-up dad. The guy scared LaBeouf with Vietnamese flashbacks, ate some interesting substances right in front of him, and even forced a bit of that stuff into Shia himself. So people pitied the actor and treated him with understanding. Even when LaBeouf got mad at his neighbor and started running around his house waving a knife, people just patted the actor on the shoulder and assumed the neighbor must have been a real jerk. Of course, there were folks who didn't share that wave of sympathy and didn't see LaBeouf as the next Tom Hanks. One of them was director Michael Bay, who initially didn't want to cast such a curious actor in his movie. Transformers became the first film Shia did under his DreamWorks contract. Spielberg had to work hard to talk Michael Bay into casting him as the lead. When talking didn't help, Spielberg suggested Bay watch Constantine. Bay wasn't impressed either and claimed he didn't want some overgrown schoolboy in his movie. So LaBeouf took matters into his own hands. He dressed like a typical teenager in full "I crapped my pants" style and acted like an idiot at the auditions. That made just the impression Bay needed, and he finally agreed to cast him. Still, on the first day of the shoot, the director insisted that the crew unleash the dogs on the actor. The trainers responsible for the whole thing claimed Bay just wanted to show LaBeouf they weren't making cartoons here, and the job must be taken seriously. The actor, on the other hand, insists the dogs kept attacking him even after the shoot, and nobody was in a hurry to stop them. Worried for his life, LaBeouf even complained to Spielberg and tried to quit the movie, which of course nobody was going to let him do. Since Transformers was a big film, there was a gap between shooting and release. Bay was probably polishing explosions while Spielberg handled the real problems upstairs. Usually, there isn't a spare Spielberg or Bay running around, which is why this is a good moment for our sponsor, Squarespace, the all-in-one platform for building a professional website without losing your sanity. The killer feature is Blueprint AI. No coding, no mess, just answer some questions and watch him casually assemble a full site layout, like Autobots assemble into one giant kick-ass robot. The design tools are powerful but intuitive. They give you full freedom to drag things around, tweak styles, and swap visuals so that your website looks less like greased-up LaBeouf and more like peak Harrison Ford. And if you actually want to know whether all of your efforts are working, Squarespace includes built-in analytics, so you can control performance, visitors, behavior, all of it. Just like Michael Bay on set, but without yelling. Try it yourself. 14 days free, no credit card, no drama. Head to squarespace.com/HollywoodLore for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code HollywoodLore to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Just do it! And we're getting back to Transformers sitting in post-production. In that time, Shia managed to squeeze in the smaller Disturbia, which Spielberg's studio was also involved with. That film had some trouble in post-production. It was shot for an adult rating, but after test screenings, they ordered it cut down to a teen one. And that's the version that hit theaters a couple of months before Transformers. At the box office, the $20 million Disturbia made a solid 118. And then Transformers landed, blowing up both the US and worldwide box office. With a $150 million budget, the film earned $710, then went on to break every home media record that existed at the time. Naturally, LaBeouf and Megan Fox instantly became the most famous young actors around. For his role in Eagle Eye, the actor got $5 million, while his earlier paychecks didn't even come close to $1 million. For Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was released right next to Eagle Eye, LaBeouf asked for way less. He even said he'd have done it for food, because Spielberg was his favorite director, and getting to be in a film by such a genius was any actor's dream. Even though the new Indiana Jones got pretty crappy reviews from both critics and audiences, it still did great at the box office. And since trashing Spielberg or Harrison Ford was kind of bad form, most of the blame for the movie landed on LaBeouf. Some people think that's what eventually triggered the actor, and why he started saying out loud all sorts of nasty things about his beloved director. But more on that a bit later. Eagle Eye, which we already mentioned, didn't do nearly as well in 2008 as Indiana Jones. With a budget of 80, it made 178, and that pretty much killed any plans for a sequel. But LaBeouf's career didn't take a hit. It kept flying into the stratosphere, and along with it, something else kept flying as well, like the number of dumb tricks he pulled. The actor got rides in cop cars every other day, since he tended to race around US streets in his car, having pre-fueled himself with alcohol. Taking his car and his license didn't help much. The actor began to just run around drunk, chasing random pedestrians and homeless people. In 2009, Transformers 2 hit theaters and made even more money, though people liked it way less than the first one. And then came the mess started by Megan Fox, who in an interview compared Michael Bay to a certain failed Austrian painter. After that small incident, the actress magically disappeared from the third Transformers, and suddenly everyone started finding a grain of truth in her words. LaBeouf added his own bit to the scandal, saying Bay didn't care about being compared to some vegetarians with mustaches, and that he wasn't the one who kicked Fox out of the franchise. It was Spielberg, whose filmography makes pretty clear how he feels about those kinds of comparisons. Between the Transformers movies, Shia popped into the actors' party New York, I Love You, where he flopped along with the rest of the respectable cast. The 2010 film Wall Street Money Never Sleeps didn't do great either. After that one, LaBeouf said he was sick of making such movies, and that he was a very talented actor, stuck in all sorts of unbelievable garbage. And the piece of unbelievable garbage he singled out the most was the last Indiana Jones. In an interview, the actor said that instead of the legendary director he dreamed of working with, the set had some suspicious gramps, choking the life out of the talented actor, backed by a whole team of morons. LaBeouf also added that every film Spielberg touched was among the worst in his career, and he regretted doing them at all. It was already too late to replace the actor in the third Transformers, so by that point Shia stayed in the movie. But his relationship with DreamWorks ended pretty fast after that delightful moment of frankness. Deciding he was ready to be really talented, LaBeouf headed to Broadway to join a stage production. The actor was supposed to play a homeless man, and he prepped for the role by sleeping under a bench in a city park. On top of that, Shia figured it'd be real great to drive his co-star Alec Baldwin absolutely nuts. When Alec finally started getting his fists up, Shia was quickly booted from the project. That didn't stop the actor, and he began following Baldwin around on the streets and in restaurants. Later, LaBeouf would claim he just got too deep into the character and couldn't simply switch on anything else. The actor's very special creative approach annoyed not just Alec Baldwin, but the whole team on Lawless. This time, Shia wasn't sleeping on benches, but clearly picked up something from Mel Gibson and stayed dead drunk throughout the shoot. And not on just anything but the stinkiest corner shop piss he could find. The actor drank before takes, drank during takes, and naturally got pig drunk after takes. Actress Mia Wasikowska, who had to be around this talent the longest, seriously wanted to quit the movie. Being within a meter of Shia for too long made her physically sick. By LaBeouf's own admission, he barely talked her into staying, promising to keep as far away from her as possible. But what upset LaBeouf the most, according to him, was that Tom Hardy didn't drink a drop on set, yet somehow looked like he'd been drinking his whole life. It meant that on camera, Tom looked better than the entire cast combined. This bothered LaBeouf so much that he started picking at Hardy and provoking conflicts. Bad people claim that it even came to a fight, where Tom Hardy met LaBeouf's fist and went offline for a while. Hardy himself prefers to joke about the incident when it comes up, but he doesn't actually deny it. There's also another version. LaBeouf, for some reason, decided that constantly annoying Tom Hardy would somehow help the movie. But whenever Shia saw Hardy genuinely starting to lose it, he'd quickly disappear somewhere. Lawless did so-so at the box office, earning just $55 million on a budget of $26. Awards passed it by as well, although because of director John Hillcoat and his previous film The Road, many thought this one would end up as an Oscar contender. After 2012, Shia reached the point where he became truly and completely special. First, the actor got hit by a scandal around a short film with the curious title Howard Cantor Calm. Critics were busy praising the masterpiece. And then it turned out the whole thing was a straight-up plagiarism of Daniel Close's graphic novel. For some mysterious reason, LaBeouf had forgotten to mention that tiny detail. When he was called on it, he made an apology, which was also plagiarized. Around the same time, the actor signed on to several projects, including Robert Redford's final film, The Company You Keep, and The Necessary Death of Charlie Countryman, which Shia managed to run away from and then come back to. And in 2013, he ended up in Nymphomaniac by Lars von Trier. According to rumors, LaBeouf landed the role by spamming the director with his pics. If that's true, then knowing good old Lars, the strategy was actually solid. The premiere of Nymphomaniac is usually called the moment where the new LaBeouf, the one we all know and love, finally fully emerged. First, the actor showed up to the press conference unshaven in a street jacket and a cap, and during the event, he was openly chewing gum and ignoring the reporters' questions. All except one, about what it was like filming erotic scenes. To that, LaBeouf replied with, and it's a quote, "When seagulls follow the trawler, it is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea." After that, he thanked everyone and walked out. And for the actual Nymphomaniac premiere in Berlin, the actor showed up with a paper bag on his head. Right after Nymphomaniac, Shia popped up in Rob Cantor's theatrical internet masterpiece, Shia LaBeouf. Still one of the best things online, period. And if you've seen the meme of him applauding, congratulations, that's where it's from. Later in 2014, LaBeouf appeared in Fury, where he once again started testing the durability of the crew's nerve cells. The talented actor didn't take a bath for over a month before shooting, just so he could really get into the role. This unexpected twist especially infuriated Brad Pitt, who more than once felt the urge to beat up LaBeouf, but was stopped in time. We already mentioned in our video about Brad that he keeps a little notebook where he writes down actors he finds unbearable and will definitely never work with again. Guess who holds the honorable second place in that notebook? At the box office, Fury did well. With a $68 million budget, it made $212, and overall, it turned out to be the last real commercial hit with LaBeouf. After that, the actor dove into all kinds of performances and very specific festival-oriented films. Sometimes that specific quality was so suspicious that even the weirdest festivals didn't notice them, and when they did, it didn't really help the movie. For example, in 2016, LaBeouf appeared in a film called Man Down. Critics absolutely shredded it, and audiences slapped it with a solid 5 out of 10. The movie is famous for being shown in just one British cinema, where it somehow earned a grand total of £7. This sparked a whole wave of jokes that the only person who actually went to see the movie in the UK was Shia himself. American Honey was received slightly better. Nobody needed it at the box office either, but the film got showered with awards at Cannes, and LaBeouf himself was praised a lot. That same year, Shia missed Suicide Squad, or rather, Suicide Squad very successfully missed him. David Ayer, the director of Fury, really wanted to cast him, but Warner Brothers for some reason decided that such a talented actor wasn't something their movie needed. All this was happening alongside LaBeouf's various performances. For instance, the actor spent several days watching all his own movies in a theater and invited anyone who wanted to watch them together. Then he cosplayed Marina Abramovich with the same paper bag on his head. This interactive performance was considered a public apology for plagiarism, and according to Shia himself, one visitor took the interactive part way too far. An evil lady started touching him in all sorts of inappropriate places with equally inappropriate parts of hers. Apparently, that still wasn't enough for LaBeouf. So in 2017, he decided to launch the art project He Will Not Divide Us. The brilliant idea was a live stream on a city street where the actor and his followers all shouted the same phrase into the camera. It was framed as a fight against the establishment, of which the actor himself was very much a part. Obviously, this birdman wasn't destined to fly. Trolls declared war and started wrecking the stream non-stop, doing filthy stuff just to get Rich Hobo's reaction, until he completely lost it and even swung on one of his own supporters. He tried to escape by switching to a new stream, just a flag that said, "He will not divide us," hanging somewhere undisclosed. Except the internet is the internet. In 36 hours, they geolocated the flag using stars, wind direction, flight paths, and even animal sounds. And it didn't help at all that Shia let a waitress from Greenville, Tennessee, post a photo with him right when the stream started. They found the flag, grabbed it, and Shia got clowned again. He tried to move his performance to Europe, but got hit with domestic abuse accusations. Rumor has it that he didn't just hit some of his girlfriends, but also forbade them from looking up or thinking about anything. Any sign of thinking Shia apparently took as an attempt to leave him, and would start grabbing knives, demanding it stop immediately. At first, the actor admitted everything and, very much in his usual style, apologized to everyone. But after a while, he said it was all lies, and that he never hit or threatened anyone. After that, Shia checked himself into a clinic, came out a changed man, and quickly picked up a Golden Raspberry nomination for David Ayer's The Tax Collector, a movie he covered his entire body in tattoos for. There were some bright spots, though. In 2019, after his role in The Peanut Butter Falcon, people were once again predicting a comeback for Shia. Both critics and audiences loved the film, but that shoot ended the usual way, with the actor being driven off in a police car. After that, he once again apologized and said that The Peanut Butter Falcon had definitely changed him. A few years ago, Shia admitted he really did have a prank that got completely out of control. He said he wanted to show everyone how talented he was. But instead, friends turned their backs, his own mother stopped talking to him, and studios started avoiding him like the plague. He was so ashamed that he even thought about doing something to himself, just to rid the world of his existence. He was unable to go outside, and there was a moment when all these horrors made him forget how to breathe, and he almost suffocated. LaBeouf doesn't just expose himself, he exposes everyone around him too. A lot of noise was made about his removal from Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry, Darling. At first, it was claimed LaBeouf got booted for somehow threatening actress Florence Pugh, and that director Olivia Wilde couldn't tolerate it. But after a while, Shia said nobody fired him. He fired himself voluntarily. And he did it because the actors weren't being allowed to prepare for their roles. Like, he's used to preparing, and Olivia Wilde banned that. Probably not a stupid decision considering Shia's appetite for method acting and all the chaos it caused. To back up his words, the actor released various recordings, which made it pretty clear that Wilde isn't exactly a nice person and that a number of unpleasant words might apply to her. The film Honey Boy, which LaBeouf wrote himself, also is quite a story. The movie was marketed as a biography based on Shia's own life. In it, he described his father as a tyrant, who didn't hesitate beating little Shia. Now, though, LaBeouf says he made it all up.
My dad never hit me. Never.
To get his dad's permission for the movie, the actor sent him a version of the script with all those scenes removed. Dad gave his blessing and was later, let's say, a little surprised. But here, Shia apologized again and said it was all because of some messed up crap in his head. Critics had previously greeted the movie with enthusiasm, repeatedly pointing out that with a dad like that, they'd have gone nuts too. So apparently LaBeouf did a great job at preserving at least some traces of intelligence. Over the past 5 years, LaBeouf's more or less noticeable projects can be counted on one hand. Among them was Pieces of a Woman from 2020, produced by Martin Scorsese. Though, ironically, only women were noticed in the movie. Vanessa Kirby and Ellen Burstyn received a pile of prestigious nominations. There was also Padre Pio, Shia landed it after Willem Dafoe advised the director to cast him. During the shooting of that film, the actor converted to Catholicism. And of course, last year, LaBeouf popped up in Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis, a movie the director made for his own soul, and with his own money. The film cost $120 million and made 14, along with a bunch of confused reactions from critics. Judging by the reviews, nobody really understood anything, but some critics still put the film on various very good lists, just in case. Possibly so that 10 years from now, no one accuses them of missing a masterpiece, like what happened with Fight Club. Right now, Shia is only 39 and he still has time for a comeback. Maybe not in popcorn blockbusters, the kind that made him rich and famous in the first place, but in serious cinema, which he seems to be aiming for. Whether the universe can handle it is something we'll find out, maybe pretty soon, especially since LaBeouf has this amazing superpower, apologizing. Once he uses it, people quickly start forgiving and feeling sorry for him again. Mel Gibson tried the same thing, but it took him years to earn forgiveness. And even then, not really. We've got a video about Mel too. Go check it out. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, hype the vid, whatever the hell that means, and see you next time.